Everybody, welcome to the second half of our funk episode of the Perfect Concert Playlist. I'm Michael, that's Ron.
That's me.
Hey, alright, so we have Earth, Wind, and Fire, Commodores, and the Spinners for this episode, and I know the Spinners is the one that might be questionable, just like War with the last episode. They're interesting because they were in a funk era, but they were just coming out of the R&B. They're one of the first of these kind of groups. So they were melding what was coming up with what had just been popular. So they have an R&B soul mixed with funk. So that's the one that might be the outlier. So you started the last episode. I'll start this one.
Go ahead.
I'm starting off with Earth, Wind, and Fire. So I'm going to start off with Let's Groove.
Yes.
Really fun one to start off. Boogie Wonderland, which is almost disco, to tell you the truth. It's so borderline disco. Shining Star. Now, one of my favorite silly movies of all time, I know it was a huge flop and it was hated, was Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell. It's the one that's set in the 70s where he's like in a minor league basketball team trying to survive. It's kind of like Slapshot. But the movie ends with that song and it makes me so happy. Sing a Song is the next one. Number 5 is Gotta Get You Into My Life, which I did not know was Earth, Wind, and Fire. It sounds more like early 80s bland, like I thought it was from a white band, to tell you the truth. Getaway is number 6. September, the all-time classic. So many people play that in their weddings if they get married in September. And Love Goes On is number 8. Now, normally you would end it on a big hit like September, but I thought Love Goes On was a kind of a nice way to end it because, it's just the concert's over, but, their story and their love to the fans still continues.
Yep.
All right, your turn.
How many was that? 9?
That was only 8.
8. Okay, so you hit it right on the money with Let's Groove to open that up. Shining Star was my second one. Actually, I'm in no particular order here. If I had to go out in a bang, say for let's say you wanted to come back in and they were the last one and you needed a song for an encore, I kind of like Africano / Power. This is like 2 songs mixed together, medleyed together.
Yeah, I almost did
their
that
live album, Gratitude. And it's got heavy instrumental sax. It's an instrumental, but it's got some heavy sax in it, and I absolutely love it. It's like, to me, it would be the ultimate jam session to send out the concert.
Yeah.
Yearning and Learning, did I say that one already?
No.
I probably should have said that other one last, but Rock That is a fun instrumental as well. Let Me Talk. Now, Back on the Road is a little bit it's kind of out there a little bit. It starts off like it's with an off-the-wall rock intro, like out of the blue, like this does not sound like them. And then it goes into a smooth funk sound that's synonymous with EWF, and I'm like, I love this. It's kind of like the guitar intro to, what was it, Black and White? It seems so out of place. So that
right,
song.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. See, the next one is Faces. This title track from that album was like 7 minutes long. And that would be, honestly, if we had to open, or maybe that'd be like a mid-show type of thing where we're kind of taking a break and, just jumping into it and have some fun. Lovely People. This is one that features will.i.am, and I'm not a big fan of his, but this song is really good. I love it. And this is from 2005.
will.i.am, him and his cohorts destroyed a room at the hotel I was working at.
Oh boy.
Yeah, not like in a classic rock way, like where they destroyed things. They destroyed it by eating they got like a massive ton of Taco Bell, and they just fucking left it everywhere. And then if you look at the room that Fergie stayed in, it's almost as if no one was even there. I went in afterwards to clean up, and I was like, it's like a fucking angel just slept in here. There's not even an indentation in the bed. What's happening?
Okay, when you said they had a bunch of Taco Bell, I didn't think that's where you were going with that.
No, they just left trash and food everywhere. It was just, boys.
Okay, so of course I have September on that list. That was my last one there, and that is all I have for EWF.
Okay, so Commodores is my second. Now, a lot of times with these, we have a cheat where we can use, like, say the lead singer goes off on his own, and then you could add songs to fill out with that, and there's just no way, because Lionel Richie had way too many hits, and it's a different sound when he went off on his own in the 80s. It's not like Peter Cetera, when he left Chicago. They basically sound like Chicago songs. So I left out all of the solo stuff. So I start off with a Machine Gun. I thought it was a fun track to get going, but the second one is the one that's just like really big and funky, is Brick House. I love that song.
She's a brick.
She's mighty, letting it all hang out. Maybe I brought in the soft songs a little too early, but Night Shift, like I said, is the love letter to Marvin Gaye. It's a little more, but it has enough of a rhythm and a beat or whatever. It's not just a cold stop like the next one, which is Easy, which people our age know was a minor hit for Faith No More.
Faith No More, yes.
And it's actually a pretty spot-on cover. It's not like they meddled it up. It was almost a joke that they did it almost to the T.
I would say it's a big homage in my opinion.
Yeah,
I absolutely love it.
The only part where it feels like it's a joke is when he goes, ew! But I always used to joke, that's why I'm sleazy on Sunday morning. Then and as I got older, it was sleepy on Sunday morning.
That's the thing.
The next track is Sail On. Lady, you bring me up when I'm... you bring me up when... I can't remember now, but I always thought it was kind of fun. I was like, up and I'm a down, or something like that. And Too Hot to Trot. Not that well known of a track, but it's a pretty good one to finish out on.
Huh. How many did you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I know, I didn't expect to only have 7. Because usually I start off with the band I have the least, and then work my way up. And I write these down. You put them on the computer, so it's harder for me to rewrite the list.
I gotcha. Did you say Night Shift?
Yeah, that was their third. The third track.
Interesting. So I only have 3 of the songs that you had. Okay. Commodores. I have. This is an instrumental. It's a good one to start out on. It's called Cebu. Cebu. C-E-B-U.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the animal or something else, but that was a pretty good. I thought it sounded like it'd be a good opener. Brick House, the 12-inch mix, of course, because anything that's that good and you get a longer version of it, I'm gonna take it. Celebrate, not the Celebrate I was thinking earlier. Well, that'd be Celebration, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Easy, Machine Gun, Rapid Fire, that's another instrumental. Night Shift is on there, and that's definitely gets into the 80s. I think most of these are in the 70s. And when did Night Shift? That's late 80s, mid 80s?
Yeah, Night Shift I think was 85.
85. Rise Up, Give Me My Mule. Sounds funny, but it's a great jam. Won't You Come Dance With Me? And that is my top 10 Commodores.
All right. So the final band I've actually seen in concert. I saw them about 7 years ago at a casino. Now, mind you, only one of the original guys was left, and he couldn't move as well as the other guys. But honestly, it was a hell of a show. It was like guys in their 30s and early 40s or whatever, and they're doing all the dance moves. It's really fun and choreographed, and of course, the lead singer, he was barely moving or whatever, but he still had his voice. But I start mine off with it's a cheat because it's probably everybody's favorite song from the Spinners is Rubber Band Man.
Of course.
I love it so much. I remember the commercial they would have when he was just bouncing around to the music. Like I said, a lot of the stuff is early 70s R&B soul before they started adding more funk to their stuff. So Working My Way Back to You is clearly like a late 60s, early 70s track. Could It Be I'm Falling in Love? I love their harmonies are just so wonderful. Games People Play is a lot of fun, a funky track. Ghetto Child. The next one is Then Came You. Cupid / I've Loved You for a Long Time.
Yeah.
Mighty Love, and then I close it all out with I'll Be Around.
Oh my gosh, I'll be around. That's like the only other song I knew besides Rubber Band Man.
Yeah, they're one of those
Falling
bands.
Off,
They're one of those bands I think that were bigger on R&B radio stations and not so much top 40. Like we have that with our rock bands. Like some of these guys we thought were huge really only had a couple of songs that broke through the top 40. And then later you find out like, oh, okay, well it's just because we listen to rock radio. And I get the feeling that's the way it was Spinners because I lived in Fort Wayne, so we got a mixture of everything. So I knew more of these songs, I think, than like people who like you grew up in a smaller town and you didn't really get. Did you get WMEE where you lived?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I lived in we were close enough to Fort Wayne.
So. Okay, because that's usually where I got my radio, and they had a really good mixture of stuff back then in the early '80s.
We got a lot of whoa-whoa stuff too.
Whoa. Jeez. That's an AM station, right? Where you hear the in the background?
Well, that's where we listen to Paul Harvey, so...
okay.
Anyway. Okay, so I'm kind of we're on the same groove level here. Rubber Band Man was my number one on that one. Working my way back to you. Could it be I'm Falling in Love?
Wow.
I was iffy about putting that on there. But you need a slow down song sometimes in the middle of the set,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So, Disco Ride, I'll Be Around, I'm Coming Home. And this one, hard to type out, say out. You type it fine, I can't say it. 1-1, there we go, 1122 Boogie Woogie Avenue, and I can totally see it without all my glasses on. But... It's an interesting title. And then I ended out with number 8 at Right or Wrong.
All right, so that closes out our episodes on 70s funk. Now I have a surprise for everybody. This one's an interesting one because it's about 70s country, but we're going to have it around 4 artists that were in a supergroup band in the 80s and early 90s called the Highwaymen. And that was Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, and Chris Christopherson. That's another big reason why we need to move it from 20 songs to 30 songs because there's no way we can get all 4 of those guys under 20. Maybe Waylon Jennings doesn't have as many hits, but I got to see him in concert too. So we're going to go 70s country. I think the only person in the 70s that isn't included in this, and I have no idea how we're ever going to fit him in, is Jerry Reed.
Oh, I can figure out a way.
Yeah, I'm going to have you, after this episode, you build an episode. Like, you help me build an episode, another one, because we're going to do 2 70s country bands, or around that era. You know, like Kenny Rogers is 70s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have that.
70s, big in the 80s.
Yeah, Jerry Reed and a couple others that we can do a list out of. You know, maybe Buck Owens or something. I don't know. So that is it.
Big one back in. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so that is our next episode, and thank you everybody for listening. And Ron, send us out.
Did you say take us out?
Yes, send us out, you awkward weirdo.
I'm so awkward. All right, guys, keep it groovy.
All right, ooh, nice. If it's funky, it may be stunky. You know.
No, I hope not.